In How to Save a Wildlife, Shanay Chambers will talk about helping wildlife in need, getting them back to the wild, and meeting the demand. Here's Shanay.
Hello everybody. So this little one here is an orphan fox kit we rehabilitated a few years back after sadly her mother was shot and killed. Orphaned for days, she arrived in pretty rough shape, but with some TLC, medical care at our facility, she was eventually released back into the wild along with many others throughout the years. I'm the wildlife rehabilitation technician at the Hutchinson Zoo's Cargill Wild Care Center. Our zoo was established in 1986, and we've been offering rehab services for 27 of those years. Because we take in a wide variety of species, through the years we've acquired a broad range of knowledge and experience with native Kansas wildlife. So what is rehab? So basically what we do is provide professional care to sick, injured, and orphaned wild animals. We assess injuries and diagnose a variety of illnesses. Once they have grown or their injuries have healed and release conditions have been met, they are returned to their natural habitat to continue living as wild animals. Each year, we take in around 700 plus wild animals. Because of the important difference between each, we need a great deal of knowledge about each species we have in care, including behavior, nutritional requirements, natural history, and possible dangers, such as zoonotic diseases or a disease or infection that can spread to the human caretaker. Pictured next are a few of the species that we rehab. Red foxes, big brown bats are one of my favorites. During squirrel season, we have a lot of orphans or those who sustain injuries from falls while learning how to climb, or basically how to be a squirrel. Always a lot of turtles. We don't see a ton of snakes, but it's always really exciting when we do. And the last is my favorite, opossums. The Virginia opossum is such a misunderstood creature. But they're actually really great to have around, and they're the only marsupial or pouched mammal in North America. For one, they have quite hefty natural immunities and are largely immune to rabies as well as venom from snakes like cottonmouths and rattlesnakes. They're docile creatures and great for keeping pest populations under control. In a study, biologists put opossums and other species to the test, giving each animal 100 ticks to eat. Opossums killed and ate far more ticks than any other animal, leading scientists to estimate that just one eats on average 5,000 ticks in just a single season. They also eat many other insects, snakes, and mice, and they're great with cleaning up carrion as well. Another important part of the job is to ensure that we keep the animals wild. Patients are held in captivity only until they're able to live independently, and we always minimize human contact as fear of humans is a necessary survival trait. Young animals can imprint quite easily, and an imprinted wild animal can be a danger to both the animal and humans. Imprinting occurs shortly after an animal is hatched or born, where the animal will learn to follow the first conspicuous moving object it sees. Most often this would be the mother, but experiments have shown waterfowl to imprint on bird decoys, inanimate objects, as well as humans. Because this is a delicate time, when hand-rearing young, extra precautions are necessary. The effects of imprinting carry over into the animal's adult life cycle. And it's been shown that the object which the animal imprints upon often determines courtship and mating behaviors. With a talon strength of 500 psi, you can clearly see why you wouldn't want to be the object of this owl's affection. Face coverings are always used when working with birds of prey. Another way to avoid imprinting is to make sure we pair animals with conspecifics, or animals of the same species. Thanks to successful networking with other rehabbers in the state, we were able to pair the fox kit from the first picture with another close to the same age. Other times we have to make do with roommates until another conspecific comes along, but the babies don't seem to mind. So what do you do if you find a wild animal? Unless the animal is obviously injured, bleeding, shivering, attacked by a cat or dog, it can be tricky for a concerned citizen to tell if it truly needs help. So contact your local rehabber, call us at the zoo. With enough information, we can often assess whether the animal needs help, should be left alone, or needs help reuniting with its parents. One species that we see quite often during the warmer months are wild rabbits. Well-meaning people will find them in their shallow nest and think they're abandoned, but because the mother rabbit stays away most of the day to discourage predators and only feeds them a couple of times a day, you generally won't see her around. If babies look dry, healthy, and plump, usually no intervention is needed. Even a well-trained rehabilitator is not an equivalent replacement for biological parents, and a wild baby's best chance for survival is always with its mother. Here I'll share a slight variation of how we reunited these owl fledglings. Unfortunately, neither the original nest or the parents could be found, so we did the next best thing. We found surrogate parents. We knew of a nest that had fledglings close to the same age, so we decided to see if the parents would adopt these two as their own. As my boss has taught me over the years, birds can't count. So into the backpack and up the tree they went. The parents quickly came to check out their new kids. We monitored over the next couple of weeks, and we watched each baby fledge from the nest. It was very successful. But as with everything, there are many people who disagree with wildlife rehab. Some believe that we should just let nature take its course, and while that argument is sometimes valid, a majority of the things that we see are caused either directly or indirectly by the hands of humans. Just a few are lawnmowers, fishing line, firearms, and vehicles. The great horned owl, was tangled up in barbed wire. He suffered injuries to both his eye and his wing. This is an x-ray of a goose that was injured by car collision. The coyote pup was orphaned after his mother was shot, and the gull was electrocuted while perching on a power line. But thankfully, with medicine and care, we're able to help many of these creatures. The picture on the left shows where this box turtle shell was cracked at the base, almost clean off after getting hit with a car. This kind of injury requires a long time of healing, altogether months, but once the wounds beneath the shell were healed, we were able to repair and strengthen the shell using a technique of layering epoxy and fiberglass, and soon after, he was on his way back home. Another great technique is imping, or repairing broken or damaged feathers by grafting in donor feathers. Each flight feather has a unique shape that enables birds to fly and control their flight, and it's imperative to use the exact feather to replace the damaged one. It's time consuming, but it pays off greatly. After imping, this red-tailed hawk was ready for release. I've learned so much over the last 6 years at my job, and I've been so lucky to work with these amazing animals, and also at a facility that's taught me so much about caring for our wild friends. I love sharing my passion, so if any of you would like to learn how you can help or volunteer, please reach out to us at the Hutchinson Zoo. Thank you.